Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly DLC. I'm one of your hosts, Crow, joined always by my co-host, Daniel Vargas.
Repeat.
And Danny Jang.
Worst thing ever.
And if you're not familiar with what we do, we come to each and every week podcasting services of your choice to, recording services of our choice.
Nerdy services.
Nerdy services. We talk about nerdy stuff. We talk about comics, games, movies, Golden Globes, Oscars. We fuck them. Game Awards. We love them. Harry Potters. We pot them. We smoke them. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's what we do. We hope you enjoy. This is episode 155. I hope you can hear us loud and clear. This is going to be our ASMR stream.
Loud and clear.
Which brings me to one of our sponsors, TikTok.
USB.
And USB and audio, because audio is important. And it's good. And you can't hear a TikTok unless you don't have good audio. So.
Exactly.
It's all tied together. So yeah, do Tide DLC, and you'll get somehow all that stuff.
Do Tide Pods DLC.
Listen to Pod Tide DLC, and we got you. But yeah, welcome to episode 155. This is your first time listening to us. Welcome aboard. If this isn't, strap in. It's going to be a bumpy one. Let's start with the chat. Guys, how have you been?
Good. I've been
what have you been up to?
putting all my time into Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah?
Been escaping it
Yeah?
left and right.
Better?
Not really. So the thing is, like, the game, there's a lot more to it. So it's skill based in the sense of, like, the more you do something, the more your character gets better at that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there is recoil on guns. The more you use specific guns, the better control you have on it. So you get less recoil, and that's just like a standard thing. On top of that, you can mod it so that you have less recoil in general. You can have like a front hand grip so that it doesn't jump up as crazy to you.
Okay.
And recoil is insane. Like, because a lot of fights, they're so far away where if I do like full auto fire, like he's like, it's already like aiming up in the heavens, and I'm not hitting anything. So I do single fire.
You're going for overhead damage. AoE.
But then if I do single fire, I'm not outputting as much damage as someone else is, so then I would get murdered. Like, if we're on one-on-one combat and I have single fire, this guy has like a non-recoil or a very low recoil gun, and he just like full autos a full clip into me, and I'm over here like 2 shots in, I'm already dead. Like I'm not. So it's not working for me, and I need to spend money on good weapons, but I'm afraid to lose that money, because if I lose the gun, I lose the money. So it's just like, it's a balance.
Damn. If
I lose the fight, I lose the match, and I lose the gun. He can just take the gun off of my body after that.
Shit.
I'm able to insure stuff, but if someone takes that weapon, and when they leave the game, takes that weapon can no longer come back to you. But if it's insured in a sense of, like, they leave it on my body, or if someone grabs it later on, it's like, oh, I found a better weapon, drops that weapon. If that weapon stays in the match, when the match is over, I get to eventually get that weapon back.
Wow.
Insurance.
Okay. Sure.
So.
Are you in good hands?
No,
But
I'm not.
I remember last week you said you wouldn't save scum, but you would use a map for Escape from Tarkov. I think that's even worse, cheating-wise.
I don't think it's worse. I don't know the map. Like, there's like.
So you discover it on your own when you play the game.
Yeah, but
I mean, I'm just saying.
To know things. Everyone uses a map. I mean, there is a map in game. Like, you have to buy it, and if you carry it on your person and you die, you lose that map as well.
Is that what you're using?
I'm not using that because, like, whenever you open a menu in the game, you're completely like helpless. Like, someone can just shoot you while you're just aiming, like looking at the map. So I just generally don't look at the menu. I'm just like constantly like.
So then, what are you looking at?
Everywhere.
It's like that Pokemon thing
Looking
where
for enemies.
you could, it tells you where the Pokemon Go when it came out.
Oh,
it's like that. It's like, because you don't know where shit is. Like, I don't know where the exits are at. And then he has a map open, like a website.
Yeah, a
Tells
website
you.
that has like a nice detailed map. It'll
And-
tell me, like, hey, these buildings have like.
But that's worse than save scumming, though, in my opinion. I'm just saying. You won't save scum, but
I'm trying to survive.
Any means necessary.
Any means necessary.
Despite your principles.
That's
That's
all
what
I've ever
Tarkov does to you, dude.
it's like
Some
playing
real shit.
Bloodborne Chalice Dungeon, but I know where the map is. I know where the exit is and stuff. I mean, part of Bloodborne or Dark Souls is discovering things and finding dead ends that lead to nowhere.
So I'm
But
now playing.
Okay. Now I feel like we're getting to something else. Are walkthroughs then cheating?
I mean, yes.
What?
So
I mean, depends. If it's a maze, maybe. A lot of Bloodborne-ish.
I don't know. I think we've had this a long time ago. I don't know if our thoughts have changed on it, but I remember we talked about walkthroughs. I don't think that's cheating. I think it's definitely it takes something away from it. Like I understand what you're saying, where it takes away like the element of surprise or discovery, but I don't know.
I've,
I don't know. If you know, like, a staircase leads to nowhere, if you don't know why without watching it, most people die from that.
So the map
think
I'm
it is-
using doesn't. It's not detailed in the sense of that. So the map shows points. Like it'll show like a red building, so I know like, and it's like the only red building in the map, so I know I'm there. But it doesn't. I can't like know exactly to pinpoint where I'm at exactly, and I just use it to know like if the exit's on this side, like or like if I had 00 in the game, it'll tell me what exits I'm offered, and it's randomized every game, so I won't necessarily have the same exits. So then I would know on the map, okay, I have to walk in that direction to go to the exit. But I played the game enough now. So I play 3 different maps. I play customs, I play woods, and I play interchange. I played those 3 enough to where I no longer use a map. I know where the exits are at. That's all I need to know.
I think it would be cheating if it's something a limited amount of people had access to. If it's publicly available,
I think it's still kind of like muddy waters.
It's in the gray waters. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm like, if you were because it is a PvP sort of game.
It is an online-based game.
Because like if I'm playing Pokemon, I don't think that's like. I think that changes my perspective on whether it's cheating or not. Because I'm doing it to just make the game for myself better.
Yeah.
But if it's helping me get an advantage against another player.
I do see the
guess.
game more skill-based in a point of like it's a first-person shooter, so like you already have to be good at that, you know. So I'm like,
but then again, I would argue, this is almost like a topic. So I would almost argue that like if you're playing a competitive game and you need to know the lay of the land, every player like if they want that edge, they need to like familiarize themselves with the lay of the land as best they can. And if it's publicly available, then yeah, just
the way I see this game is it's in layers. There's obviously beginner players, there's intermediate players, there's advanced players.
But I'm just talking about like if I'm thinking of PvP,
yeah,
and I'm thinking more in the traditional sense of like let's say a Halo map or a Gears map. I don't think it's unfair for one team to be like I have a picture of what this map looks like next to me because now I've familiarized myself either before the competition or during the competition.
You would already know that map usually.
I think. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud, but
for me though, I don't see there being a benefit of me looking at the map. Again, I'm only using it to know the exits because you can't win the game unless you exit the game. Like I could literally kill everyone on the map. I have not won the game. I have to leave the match. That's the only way. So that's why I need the map. So it's the only way for me to like finish a game, and I don't even have to leave like at the end of a round. I can leave at any moment. Okay. Like as soon as I start a match, I can just rush to an exit point and leave the match again. Okay. But it'll count me as a loss if I never leave the match when the timer ends, or if I die in the match.
Do you still feel?
I don't think most players use one. That's the thing. So,
you think it gives them in this game an advantage?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair.
But now that I know the map, is it still cheating?
I mean,
well, because like I had learned it by looking at a map the whole time, but I feel like.
Here's a question. Let's say he looked at the map before the match, and then he put it, and then he didn't have access to it during the match. Is it still the same to you, in your opinion?
Like I took a quick look at it and then never looked at it again while playing the match.
No.
Okay.
So you played it enough. I saw you like, you were like level 3.
My thing is how is save scumming cheating versus that. I think save scumming isn't as bad as that.
So
I'm not progressing with save scumming. Like,
right, but like you're resetting. Like that's how I see it. Like you're resetting like a fight you've already done. Like instead of having to do the whole thing over again.
Extra life.
like an extra life without actually losing a life, because you're and like losing everything that you've done already. But again, like there's different versions. There's safe coming in a sense of like the way he does it in the card game.
Slay the Spire.
Slay the Spire.
That's
because,
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that one he's resetting that same match over and starting all over again. Where in with Bloodborne, he's same scumming just so he doesn't lose all that gear.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, he's still restarting that match, but he's been doing the same.
He would have
thing.
been doing that regardless.
Exactly. Just he that way he didn't lose all these items.
You're not like if you were to. Yeah. Okay.
It's muddy waters, but the thing is, I know that the beginner players and even intermediate players will use maps the way I'm using it. Like they'll look at a map on the website. But advanced players like no longer, and even then, as a beginner player, I have no clue how you'll ever know where an exit is. There's no markings. Like there's literally nothing. You walk to a specific zone and you start extracting. That's literally the only like way you know. There's no specific marking telling you this is an exit point.
Interesting.
So like I don't know. It just feels like you're completely blind if you don't have a map. It's insane.
Listeners, what do you think? Safe scumming. Better or worse
Looking at a
than,
map while
than,
playing?
than doing what Vargas has done? Please let us know.
But that's all
that's
I've done.
most-
I haven't watched anything. I haven't done anything. It's just been my life has been that.
Okay. What have you been up to, Jay?
I played Tarkov
Oh, yeah?
one day.
Okay.
It's cool. It's
You got
very
level 3?
intense.
Yeah.
It's very intense. But I'm trying to build a brand, dude. I'm trying to be that ninja. But we're not. It's not probably not going to happen. But
You going to Mixer now?
yeah, we're going to Mixer, getting shoe deals, Adidas. What you say to me, a little.
Little shit.
Tarkov is great. It's very intense. I think it's scarier than some horror games
Really?
because like how intense it is. Like, and it's kind of crazy because like I don't have that much gear, and I'm like I don't want to lose this shit. Like, but yeah, you'll hear footsteps and you're just like, oh shit, where is he? He's like, and
Have you tried playing just running out and
Yeah.
just seeing okay.
yeah, I have. Like, I prefer the smaller maps, the indoor ones, but the outdoor ones are cool too. But
Would you go back to it?
If you choose the wrong time.
I'd go back to it, but I gotta build my energies on the stream, dude.
What's the brand right now?
the last bosses?
No, I know,
No,
but
so
I mean, like, what
the
are you
game.
building it around?
I don't know. The stream. I just want. I mean, the dream is to do streaming
Entertainment.
full time.
You're building it around entertainment.
I mean, that's the dream. That's just hard to do. Not a lot of people are lucky with that position, but I'm using a formula, tried and true. Play one game, and
For the rest of your life.
yeah, just build on that game. It sort of happened to me with San Andreas because I was playing that game for a long time, and I'm doing that with Bloodborne. Bloodborne's my main game. It's gonna be what I play, and then on the weekends, I think I'll play whatever I want to play. But
So, do you have strategies or thoughts on how you're going to continue to keep Bloodborne interesting
do.
for you?
I do
Okay.
different weapons and different builds, but I think people want to watch the journey of Blood Level 4. Like,
But
that's
you're
what
almost
people
done.
are invest. Yeah, but I got the hardest fucking bosses. I seen a streamer stuck on this next boss I'm gonna fight for a month.
Yeah, but are they better than you?
And then you can cheese it. I seen Maximilian. So this is a whole nother topic, but I seen Maximilian do cheese it, and so I'm gonna give it a week. If I can't beat him normally, I will cheese it.
Is this the one where you're saying like there's that parry loop or something?
Yeah, it's a parry loop.
You followed a streamer, or I think you still follow her. She was doing a Blood Level 4 run. She did not do it as cheese method. The cause, dude, I would watch her. She would like. There'll be times where she enters the match and just dead, immediately dead.
Yeah.
And then there's times where she does it really well, but once it gets to like, because he changes forms, or he like changes.
That's two forms.
He changes like attack patterns, and he like just couldn't keep up.
He's
But
very
eventually-
aggressive. Has very unpredictable. It's like Maria. Maria's very aggressive, and she changes her attacks
Yeah.
too.
That looked like a high level PvP match.
Man.
Like you're playing a pro and you're like playing footsies. You're like,
It's crazy because I still consider it the third hardest. It hasn't gone up. It went up a little bit and then it went back down. Because after the save scumming, I'm like, dude, Ludwig is easy with the proper materials. Ludwig is easy, But,
Is it because you have no fear of using all the items over and over and over? Because you'll get them back again, essentially.
I mean, it does way more damage just having those items.
But like when you weren't safe scumming, is it because you didn't have the items?
It take forever to farm them.
Okay.
It took forever to farm. Dude,
So you did a farm session?
If you ever do a blood level 4 run and you don't save scum, each DLC boss you beat, I will give you $20. You need to save scum. You will lose your fucking mind, dude.
But
it takes about 30 minutes to 45 minutes to farm the things you need to actually
and
start
so that's
the
what you
fall,
did. You farmed in
and
the
you could
beginning.
lose it like that. Yeah,
So
I was like, nah,
you farmed the items in the beginning, and then you'd
you
save scum and essentially
you don't really farm the items in the beginning, like.
Well, I meant like before you started safe scum, because you were already on.
Yeah, you would have to farm it.
So you farmed them a little bit, and then you were safe scumming in a sense of like keeping those items so you wouldn't lose them after you've used all of them in the match. Okay,
I'd give you $20 if you no save scum DLC.
heard it here,
And
boys.
it has to be on stream. Like I
Yeah,
need to
of
see you
course,
not save
of
scum.
course. Of course.
GG. You 6 month, no, I mean 6 months to a year, probably. Because farming it, because you lose that momentum. That's the problem. If you forget how to fight, and it's a no hit run. After boss 3 in Bloodborne, every single boss is a 1-hit circus, 1-hit KO, dude.
6 hours.
It's like 2 hits or 1 hits.
Yeah.
And so that Maria fight, 1-hit K, like you had to be fucking on point. Like I feel like if I went back to Monster Hunter, I'd be fucking sick right now. I'd be legit no hits, dude. Like, it's crazy hard how fucking. I'm not good at no hit runs. That's just not my thing, and then that's
It's
what
made it your thing.
Yeah, it has to be a thing in blood level 4. It's a fucking thing.
I'm curious if you were to do like a weekend thing where you played Monster Hunter and see how the skills translate.
Oh my god, I would run an evasion plus fucking whatever, the highest evasion, roll through rollers. I'll do everything is just evasion. It would just be an evasion fucking build, dude. My timing, I think, has gotten so incredibly like good because of Bloodborne. Like
I think the challenge you would face, well, you wouldn't be limiting yourself in terms of weapon, right? You would use like a max weapon or whatever. So, okay, never mind. I was thinking like if you're using base equipment, the challenge would be the timer, not the getting hit at that point. But okay.
And you said like no one really does like Blood of a 4 ones without upgrading items. Like they always usually upgrade
dude,
items.
there's some crazy motherfuckers that don't dodge, don't roll. Like,
I've seen no dodge runs, which like I was like, what the heck, dude?
They're gods. They're gods among gods. But I'm a god. I've already transcended. I'm back.
But what's
I'm
insane
back from
is,
Mars,
like,
dude.
Like you've played Ludwig so many times. Like, how do you beat him without dodging? Like that just doesn't make sense. Like because you can't. Walk fast enough
especially second form. I don't understand.
Yeah, like it's weird.
It's got to just be like
You'd
that.
have to know like nearly every movement and know how it works and be like run here, run there, like without like hitting the dodge button. It's insane.
Fists only. Like I don't know how these guys do it. No hits. It's just no deaths.
You'll understand soon.
I haven't. No,
You're like listing off everything you're going to be trying.
I'm never transcending. No. That's you know what I always said. I don't think I'm gonna do another.
It's like the Matrix. Soon you won't have to dodge, dude.
I don't think I'll.
Beginning to believe.
I don't think I'll ever do another Blood Level 4 run unless I have a lot of viewers and they demand it. Like so, it's weird.
You know what to do. Get the viewers.
So, Blood Level 4 is considered beating the main game on a Blood Level 4. DLC is optional. So I'm already a one bro.
Okay.
I've done it. I haven't beat the last boss, but I beat the harder bosses, and so I've done it. I surpassed some of my viewers, which is crazy. Once I beat Cosdo, oh my god! I mean, Lawrence is gonna clap my booty cheeks
Lawrence
too.
of Arabia.
But other than that, I saw a lot of shit. I saw Black Mirror, Black Museum.
Oh, what'd you think?
It's cool.
But
Some of
still,
the stories fucked me up.
Yeah, San Junipero is still number one. No, I mean it's still good. Black Museum is really fucking good.
They're different.
Monkey wants a hug.
Some of the stories, like the hospital one, was fucking like disturbing.
The pain guy. Yeah.
what is pain?
Aaron Hernandez documentary on Netflix. Highly recommend. Not as good as Don't Fuck with Cats, but it's
So you recommend that above Aaron Hernandez?
yeah, it's a good documentary. It's about a football player, successful, commits murders, gets caught, and the thing I wanted to find out was there's this weird law in Boston. If you die while your trial's in acquittal process, you become clear of that. So what he did was he killed himself, got cleared of the murder charges, so his daughter and his wife can get the money from his football career.
He intended to do
He
that?
did that on purpose. So I was like wondering, did they get to keep the money? Because in 2009 they overturned that stupid law. So because there was like a Catholic priest that sexually molested people, but he got killed in prison, got cleared of the charges. That's a weird law. Not anymore, but
Wow.
there was a weird law in Massachusetts, and so that's what I wanted to know. And he didn't get the money.
They didn't get the money. And you had to look at this after, or it
No, it says it in the
okay.
documentary, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I watched Watchmen, halfway done. It's
Okay.
pretty good. Ozymandias is in Mars. I know it.
Interesting theories. This is like his God of War theory.
I know.
Remember that?
I love how you
his,
just
his confidence. It's fun. It's very nice. That
and-
Bloodborne run has given him all this.
What if we all are on Mars?
And
and he's on Earth.
yeah. It's weird. It's very Lost-like. Ozymandias' parts, very Lost-like.
Have you? I remember mentioning this before, but I don't know if have you noticed or caught on the time in which every time you're seeing Ozymandias,
Yeah.
a year has passed.
Yeah, it's the anniversary of the squid thing. Oh, maybe he is dead. If that's the anniversary of the squid thing, that happened in the 80s. No, but he's old. So there's a second squid attack.
Keep watching.
Um,
Are you enjoying it so
Beware
far?
the Sonic
Yeah, it's cool.
blast, dude.
I'm gonna watch it in the weekend. I
Okay.
don't know if I'll finish it this weekend.
Oh, you
but
will.
I
You'll watch
feel
an
like
episode
you'll
and-
get to a certain point
Yeah.
and you'll just wanna.
Yeah,
I'd imagine, but we'll see.
and it might be like another episode or two.
And your boy made it to DreamHack, Twitch LA. Thank you.
Check him
They
out.
haven't accepted yet though, so
Oh, I sent the email. I'm excited, dude. I didn't think I was gonna get in because the deadline passed, and they still told me to like apply for it. And I think a lot of people that applied for it in Twitch LA didn't make it. I think I only got in because of the hype or better performing streams. So I mean, I get it like a follower a day. It's been doing good.
That's good.
It's growing. I've ascended.
Booty cheeks are clapping.
Yeah.
Is the merch coming?
No, but emotes are coming.
You gonna
Not sub emotes.
Okay.
I'm still.
I
torn.
just got notified I subbed again. I didn't realize it was automated or.
Oh well, thank you.
oh,
So-
because you did a regular sub.
I think
and
I
not
did.
the
I
Twitch.
don't remember.
Yeah, the Twitch Prime you
Because
can
it gave
never
me a
automate
notification.
that.
Like, I thought what? I mean, sure, but like I didn't remember. I thought it was like I had to go in and do it actively, but that's. So are you gonna announce it at DreamHack? Big announcement.
about
The
Mixer.
emotes.
Oh no! I mean, I'm gonna have my emotes before. See, I'm torn because I don't know if I should bring my equipment. They have equipment there, but I kind of want to stream my console. So, and I also want my overlays and my.
That means you'd have to bring your computer.
Yeah, I would have to bring my computer.
That's
You
a
can
lot.
pack it
No.
and see how and like check it out
That's a
before.
lot.
Yeah.
Use Friday as like a setup
too much.
day.
You
But I
gotta-
mean, the exposure for that place is crazy. Like, I need my viewers to watch me, dude. I don't want to
Check 'em out.
Imagine zero. I mean, I won't
It's
be
not.
watching.
It's not
I'll
zero.
be
It's
answering
not.
next.
It's not zero, dude. Not zero anymore, boys. We've hit double digits consistently.
Nice.
So
Cool.
yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Sub emotes coming soon.
Exciting.
Emotes are not that expensive. So, no.
It depends on who you go.
Hmm?
It depends on who you go to.
I mean, I think they're not that expensive.
Okay.
She's pretty legit. The person I'm buying it from.
Cool.
Like, so.
Nice. Did I say I watched? I don't remember if this was the week before or not. I watched 2 movies on Netflix.
I saw your tweet or Instagram.
Okay, so I don't think it was on last podcast. I watched the 2 Popes
Oh,
with Jeremy. what's his
Leto?
name?
Jude Law. And
No. That's that's a young Pope.
Is it?
Yeah, Young Pope is a show on HBO with Jude Law and what's his name? John
Is that
Malkovich.
Oh.
The movie with Anthony Hopkins and the guy that was the religious guy from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
the
yeah.
I forget his name. He's from Brazil, the movie Brazil, and many other things. Jeremy something. It was the movie about the two popes in the most recent. The one that relinquished the German good pope, and then the most recent one. And it was really interesting. It was like a little over 2 hours, 2 hours 15 minutes. It's literally a movie about just two dudes talking, and I was kind of like working on some crafting stuff, and it was very nice just to like sit there and listen to them, because it was a lot of like ideology and like where are you coming from. Where's like one of them was born and raised in Europe and Germany, and then he was like right there at the Vatican. The other guy was like ground soldier, foot soldier. Like whenever he was preaching, he was there with the people, and he was very much more in tune with everyone, rather than like there's a divide and stuff. And then their views on life were very different. And it focused a little bit on the actual religious stuff, but I think it focused more on like humanity things, humane things and morals and what is okay, what isn't okay. And they kind of were talking about like, we spend so much time saying what people can't do. Like, you always hear like the churches are always against this really liberal idea or modern idea. And the new pope was like, we're losing our following, and it's because we're just so conservative, not thinking about the end thing of like being better to each other. And I don't know whether that's actually what that pope is like. I don't know. This is like literally the first time I really spent that much time with any pope at all. Learning about and stuff and all that stuff. And it was two of them, but it was a nice message to see in a film, and an interesting story, and it hit on a lot of things of like how because they go into both of their backstories a little bit, and just also like what's gone on in our world. And the director is the guy that did City of God. I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie. Very good movie. One of my favorites. It's set in Brazil. It's like
the very dark.
It's like the kids.
Yeah.
They start growing up.
Okay.
I mean, it's dark, but it's kids growing up. But it's like it's got a very complex, mature tone, and like you see them growing up. And
obviously, it's like real life stuff, but like there's crazy shit that goes.
Yeah, crazy shit does happen. Yeah. Anyway, so that director did this, and like he kind of ties it back to the upbringings and like the worlds we lived in, and like the war-torn stuff that happens, that like politics does, that military does to regions, and that kind of hit hard. And I was like, wow, like strong messages. It was good performances by both Anthony Hopkins and the other gentleman, which I'm struggling to remember his name. Jeremy something.
Hold that.
And then immediately after that, like back-to-back show viewings, I watched The Marriage Story. And that one was very good performances. Like, everyone in it was phenomenal.
So you're pissed that it didn't get Oscar nominated?
It did. Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson are the main two protagonists as the husband and wife. And literally, it's just a story of their divorce. Like, from beginning to end. And
beginning, like, the start of a divorce, or the beginning, like, when they get together?
No, the beginning as in... Well, it kind of jumps around, but, like, as they're narrating, it's the beginning of the divorce process. And it starts, and, like, in that alone, in just the analysis and the viewing of a divorce process, it was very real. As I was watching, I was like, wow, like, she's lawyering up, he's got to lawyer up, he's got to pay for her part of her end. He's also like, I don't know where this money's coming from. All these logistical things. I was like, this whole process fucking sucks. And like at the start,
do they have kids or no?
Huh?
Do they have kids?
They have
a
child.
Fuck.
Oh, I was
And
like, eight children?
No, he was like 8 or 9.
Fuck, that sucks.
And yeah, and that was the whole thing. They were like, if we continued the direction we're going, and it's amongst many other complicated parts of the story, but they're both like, if we continue down this path of like getting law involved more and more, because they initially were like trying to keep the law out of it. They're like, we'll figure this out ourselves. Like, she wants a divorce, fine, blah, 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 this, and this. But the more they kept going with the story, the more it subtly just became less them, more their lawyers. And the more that happened, the more they're like, no, the baby was born in California. Like, they were like disputing where the kid gets to stay. And like, it became more about like them trying to be with their like. One of them is getting their kid taken away. The other one is they're both losing things, and like it just like it was sad and it sucked. And like I was like, fuck, like this stuff. Like it was the emotions were very like intense and real. And like there was that recent headlines of like they were trying to show a clip on a talk show, and Adam Driver just walked out because he can't watch his stuff. I'm like, if I acted like that, like in that level of intensity, that like
I can't
raw,
watch that shit.
I couldn't watch myself do that. I was like, it's hard to like recommend, but just
It's
for
good.
like the
Like,
level
you
of
enjoyed it.
performance and everyone was good. What's her name? Laura, the chick from Jurassic Park.
Laura
Yeah, Dern. She was in it as one of the lawyers. Ray Liotta was like a fucking like cutthroat lawyer too. I mean, they both were cutthroat.
Yeah.
And then the guy from MASH. He's really old now. The main comedian.
Oh yeah.
You could tell he's like really old, and I was like, man, he's a great actor.
Hmm.
Everyone was great, yeah, but yeah, it was a fucking bummer. And I was like 1 a.m. I'm like, why the fuck? Fuck.
It's like watching
Shit.
a bad episode of
It's like
fucking
Black Mirror.
Shit.
No, it was like Grave of the Fireflies.
Shit.
Fuck.
Like that scene that's been like shared a lot. That was intense. Like watching how it's like all the context leading up to it, and then watching it.
I
and then-
want someone to do that dub, but goofy. Like, oh, I'm gonna.
I think
cool.
they did it where Scarlett Johansson is Mickey
Oh,
and Adam
shit.
Driver's voiced as Goofy. And I haven't watched it,
But they say, oh, I'm gonna. Cool.
so I watched those two. And then
Games.
I also I went to see Pete Holmes do stand up.
Oh.
Funny as fuck. Like I was in tears laughing my ass off. He's so funny.
He does normally like he impersonates voices, right? Or like
No, he's if you guys
He has
ever
a
seen like
podcast,
he has
I
a
think.
podcast. He has an HBO show. He's done those like college humor Batmans, like
Oh.
riddled with bullets, like that stuff. And then he did this mini series of like Street Fighter interviews, like in the
Okay.
office environment, and like actors would come in and like play the Street Fighter characters.
Dude, really good comedians. They're just so like their timing and it's like
He literally like came up with a tangent like on the like he was like telling a different story. He was setting up a joke, and in the middle of it, he's like, "Have you ever just like when you get a new device, do you wait?" And he was talking about porn, and I was like, "Oh my god, I know what he's talking." And he starts going on. He's like, "You ever just think about that? Like, this is new. I could this
I
so
don't
much
wanna
potential."
change it.
Yeah. And he said, I was Katie's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, I think about that.
oh, I'm gonna cool.
The way he was going through it was just hilarious. It was so good. So then did that, and then been playing Destiny for the most part still. Not overly much because this week's been busy with the Potter costume stuff, but which I'm making a lot of progress on. I'm excited to show the final results. to you guys. But I have been playing a lot of Slay the Spire. God, every time I'm like, I'll do one more run, and like I don't give a fuck about the run. I'm like, this one's just gonna be like, I don't give like, let's
Yeah,
just see what
that's
happens.
you get for it.
And like I get a lot of good shit. And I'm like, oh shit, this one's lining up.
That's how it works though. You have to not give a fuck the whole time.
It's hard though, because once I get all that stuff, I'm
You're
like,
like,
I
okay,
can't
now
be
I'm
as I
serious.
can't be as reckless.
And then you get taken out.
And I make it far,
Yeah.
but then like right when I'm like on the cusp, it's like,
Shit.
and I had a good run. I was like, fuck.
Damn.
I could have, like, I realized after I hit okay, because I just accepted the defeat. I was like, fuck.
Save
And then
scum.
and I was like, I should have saved scum just to see. But I was like, I can't, like, that got me to a high, and then, like, I can't be let down again.
I got no time, dude. Time's
I
precious.
know.
I gotta save
It
scum.
was more of like, I felt so much excitement and energy in that fight that I was like, I don't think I would make the right. I was like, I would have to, like, save scum and then come back at it later. But I'm still working on the unlocks, and I'm on the last unlock for Ironclad.
Oh.
And then I'm going to focus on the next one.
Wow, you got far without having all the whole unlocks for Ironclad. Holy crap.
Yeah. I got good relics. Like, I just
Yeah.
had a good
I
run.
beat the game without unlocking everything on silent
Oh,
on
damn.
PC.
Okay.
So-
PC. Mouse
Well,
and keyboard.
I mean, you've like you had put so many hours into Silent already though on Switch.
I didn't
So
even have the
bad?
best shit.
Crazy.
dude.
Anyway, so I've been doing those two mostly. And then we've got our Pathfinders Dungeons and Dragons tabletop game coming up, and like we've been prepping for this big major dungeon coming up in the next 2 or 3 sessions, and I've except my character has survived some horrifying shit while party members have died, and like some of it has been because other party members have killed them, not through their choice but through monsters controlling them and shit. And I'm like, if I look at it from my character's point of view, he's watched his own friends mutilate each other, and then other characters kill each other, and then other characters like get some sort of spell put over them where they're beating the shit out of themselves. He's fucked up. Like I was like, he's losing it. And so I think I mentioned last time I like went to a brothel when we went to recoup, and I'm like, I've accepted that my character is either gonna die in the next 2 or 3 sessions, or I'm gonna level up, because we're like on the cusp. It's been like 3 years we've been playing. We're only level 2, so I'm like, we're either leveling up or I'm dying. So I've been thinking of both outcomes, and I'm like thinking of what I should do for where my character goes if I level up. And the DM was like, oh, you could take this ability, because I buff people. I play like I inspire everyone, and so everyone's rolls gets a +1, and which helps.
You toss coins to your Witcher.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
And I do some gunslinging as well, but not too much. It's like secondary. So then I saw this ability where it's like, if I'm holding a flag and everyone in my group can see it, they get another +1. It stacks. And he's like, you could literally be the Patriot, where you're just like, and like the group, like I'm just not gonna fire. And like apparently, I totally forgot. I had this armor. I have regular armor, and then I have this scarf. I was like, what's the only other thing I can afford? And it was like this scarf, but it only adds to my armor if I'm moving. So I'm like, I'm just gonna run around the back waving my flag, buffing
Like
everyone,
extra
and I'm gonna be buffed armor. I'm like, I'm fucking set. Yeah. And then I guess if I have this ability, there's another ability I can get where I just touch people and it adds resistances. So I'm just gonna go around patting everyone on the back.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
Slap the asses.
You're doing a great
No.
job.
Anyway, that's what I've been up to.
Nice.
So let's get into topics.
Yeah, let's do it.
Safe scumming versus
Tarko.
Tarka.
Random maths.
No. I mean, recently there's been a lot of conversation about the Oscars. I think the SAG Awards just happened. Golden Globes is different from Oscars, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I always mix up Academy Awards. I'm like, Academy Awards is where the Oscar. I don't know. Anyway, so those two have happened. But with a lot of like what's been nominated, I've seen this conversation on Twitter a lot, because it's just, everyone's got different opinions and interests and like what they want. Like, it happens commonly with awards where you're like, I want my thing or this thing that I love to get nominated, but there's only so many spots. Anyway, my point is, when I've seen the conversations every year happen like this, where it's like, man, what the fuck, this should have been nominated, and then the next immediate thought is, this other thing is a piece of shit. Why is that nominated?
Yeah.
It made me think. I'm like, why is that? And whether or not the other thing is a piece of shit or not is opinion and it's subjective. But why does the thought, regardless of Oscars or any other thing, why do we think in a way where it's like
We bring something down.
we have to shit like crap on something or talk about how bad something else is to emphasize how much better this thing that we're interested in is,
rather than just talking about how great that is already.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what you guys think. Do you guys find yourself doing that? And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just wondering, what is our thought process with that? This need to compare. And what do you guys think?
I know I do it, and I don't know if this is like all of society, but I know that when I'm thinking about something and I think of, in comparison, if I talk about something shitty, it's more impactful than if I say like, hey, this is great. Because I think we always think of things comparatively, but things negative is always outweighed more. So like if I say, let's say there's 2 remote controls and one of them has volume up and down, the other one doesn't. And instead of me saying like, dude, it's amazing that I have volume up and down, if I just say like, dude, this other shitty one doesn't have volume, it's so stupid, so I use this other one. It already makes the other one look good. And if I were to just say if I don't even bring the other one up and I just say volume up and down, this has it, I use this one. It's just I think comparison wise, if I bring something down, the other thing looks even better than it did before, even if there was no comparison at all, kind of thing. So I don't know. I just think when we think of something and we talk bad on one thing, it makes the other thing look good, because we think we concentrate more on negative aspects of things. and we're like, oh yeah, that is bad, rather than just think of the good things. And so it makes it look more impactful for the other thing that we're comparing it with. That's my thought.
I agree. I mean, it's like in our nature to compare, I think. Just like when we compared, that's what we do. We just go, oh, I have this many viewers or subs. And then you have a YouTube, and you go, oh, how many subs do you have? I mean, I don't know. It's just like, it's in our nature. We just always compare stuff.
Do you think it's also, I mean, you're saying nature, but do you think it's also upbringing, like the way we're raised?
Yeah.
Because like
I think it's cultural too. Yeah.
I think of that more than I think of nature, because I'm like, when I grew up, my parents were always like, you got to be as good as that other kid. That other kid, like, look at how successful that is. And like, you're being like given comparisons. And so then we're like, okay, I got to compare. And that's where I feel like I get it. And I don't like I remember even to this day, like my folks will be like, you know, you got to compare yourself against what I'm like, I'm on like I've accepted, and I still do it. I'm not saying I don't.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
In that vein of like self, success of self and such, I think of I should be comparing myself just to myself and where I was 6 months ago, because everyone's on a different path.
Yeah. And
that's what I'm like. I've like been so against like how that's been brought on me and shared with me, and it's got its uses, but I agree with what you're saying in terms of a product. Like if I'm comparing phones, for instance, I do that all the time. I'm like, what is available? What are the prices? And what am I getting for those prices? And I'm comparing. So then I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. But I think when I'm thinking of stuff like a movie, for instance, I feel like things can be special because you haven't seen them and it's rare. Like one thing might have something that the others don't, and that's why it stands out to you. But if I love something, it's not because I hated something else. I don't know. Like I think I'm like, I love this because I liked what this was, not because I didn't like what something like. My thought is when it becomes to those higher level stuff, if I'm recalling correctly, I would say like it's more about like what that made me feel and how important that was to me.
Right.
But then I guess that goes back to the conversation of like, if let's say I love something and I saw something special in it and I didn't see it get the recognition it deserved, I think it is like a knee-jerk reaction to just be like, what did that have that this didn't have?
Yeah, exactly.
And now I'm angry.
You start saying what it didn't have.
But then my thought is, why am I angry at that thing? Why am I not angry at the committee? Like, what is their like? I feel like my anger, or a lot of this anger, should be less directed at the
products,
the peers,
two
than the organizations. Yeah. And I see enough conversation of that as well, where like, fuck the Oscars, you know.
Yeah.
But I think they do a good job with hiding in the background. Like,
I feel like they pit these people. I don't know. They let it happen.
We don't think of like the people that are casting these votes, or that are putting like, hey, this should be it. So it's instead they're like they put the two objects, the two movies in the limelight, and then we're comparing those rather than just saying like, why did these guys vote for these two and not these other movies? What did instead we're focusing on what got already nominated as opposed to what they were doing, what they casted votes on. And it just
and even just in general, like, oh, this person did a costume, and it's like, I've seen better. Like,
I think also like the Academy is kind of I mean, I say it's racist, but I think it's like a popularity contest. Like things got snubbed, and like it's like this group of actors or people who work in the industry, and they're only gonna help out each other. Like Adam Sandler didn't get nominated when he probably should have got nominated, and like I just feel like, oh, they look down on him because of his past career, and we're not gonna give this guy a nomination. Like,
also,
I don't know.
The movie studio that made Uncut Gems, it's not a big studio, right?
A24 are the producers, and I don't think they've had anything nominated before.
Yeah.
I mean, Parasite wasn't made by a big studio.
I know, but the reason I would say Parasite got nominated is just because of how much it got talked about. I think if it was the exact same movie but people didn't talk about it, they just enjoyed it and it showed high numbers, it probably would have never gotten on here.
I don't know. Most Oscar movies don't get talked about a lot. I think they're not the most popular box office.
So I think I don't know about most.
If you ask,
I know
if you ask an average moviegoer, have you seen all movies that's been nominated? They're gonna say no.
Yeah.
They're gonna say yes to their Toy Stories, their Avengers.
What do you think though about like the winners? Like, would you say the winners is the same kind of percentage difference?
I would say
don't
the
know.
winners are the popular, like most seen.
Because like I was thinking of last year, it was that one where it's the driving
Right, Green Book, Green Light, Green
something, something book.
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah. And people were like, "What the fuck?" Like this.
Never saw it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. I just like for instance, like it's such a weird perspective for me. Like going back to the movie thing of like people have like gone with the Joker movie. There was a lot of controversy about it. Then there was like, holy shit, it got like nominated for stuff.
Like 8.
Holy shit, it got a lot of nominations
Yeah.
for stuff. Holy shit, other things didn't get nominated. Fuck that. And it's like to me, I was looking at it and I thought, wow, it's like weird how it's been turned. And I was bringing it up in your thing where it's like Black Panther was heralded as like a comic book nominated film. And for many reasons, it's got its own merits. And I'm not trying to like put that down and compare it to. But I'm saying in the vein of like a comic book movie that was regarded in a cinematic quality level, which people have been asking for. Like Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight was one of those that like people were like, holy shit, it's being nominated.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. And like slowly we're seeing that change of like them being more acceptable in this sort of like Oscar nominated worthy performances and stuff, or like just like recognized for their powerful performances. But I don't know, like how this is being received, for instance, made me think in another way. It's like I am comparing because I'm trying to compare like, okay, what was I guess the similarities and what was the differences of the two, and I
But
guess that's a useful way of comparing things.
At
is like,
least with like let's say with the Joker, like in specific categories, when you compare like a movie that didn't get nominated, you're like, dude, Joker didn't have that this movie did. Like it should work. It works perfect for this category. Kind of you're saying like with comparing the phones, like you were saying, I have like the newer Note 10. It has slow motion camera. My previous phone didn't. So if you like instead of saying like this has the slow motion, I just like my other phone didn't have slow motion. That was a piece of shit. And it's just like with the Joker, you're going to say like, hey, this movie didn't have this type of acting, so therefore this other movie should have been in that category. You just, I don't know. We think in negatives. It's just how I feel
the
like that's how
negative
it is.
space.
The negative space is more
The
potent
news
to us.
News, all negative.
Yeah, all
Pretty
negative.
much.
Like that is more powerful to us than positives. So if we bring something down, it's like putting like it's like seeing a scale. If you put positives on one side, it doesn't move much. But if you put the same amount of negative into
This has more negatives.
yeah,
So I can push it down more?
The value of a negative is worth more, and so it lifts whatever you're comparing to up. And so we talk in negatives. We compare in negatives. It's just how society is. I'm sorry. I apologize for
Except
nothing.
for Reddit. Good karma. There's a lot of good stuff in Reddit.
No,
that's why I like it. Like,
Yeah.
But there's a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah, there's some bad stuff too. Yeah.
A lot of bad
I don't
stuff.
know, it was interesting because it's like, in some ways, like I was saying, like I'm making an active effort to try to see when I am and am not doing it, and maybe there's another way of making the same point. And I've noticed it. Like Katie and I will talk about stuff, and she'll put one thing down and put another thing up. I'm like, you could. I'll notice it then more when I'm seeing it as an outside viewer versus myself. I'll be like, you could have made that same point without ever bringing up this other thing.
That reminds me of something. So I'll joke around with my friends like, man, that fucking TV show and that movie sucked. Hey, but it wasn't as bad as Game of Thrones. Like that's a joke. But I mean, like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, it's
there's some
true.
truth to the joke, and
Yeah.
like,
You know?
It's interesting.
That's how it is.
Yeah. No, it's something. Yeah, like I said, I just like think about more and more.
Yeah.
Because I there's enough conversations. Like I don't know if you guys ever get. A lot of people, I know. There's like times when you're in a social circle, you guys are all people are chatting about stuff, and like when you spend too much time talking about how much things suck or focus on negatives, or I get very drained,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, I'm like, this is exhausting. Like to me, it gets exhausting. Like
Mentally.
whether it be the political situations or whether it be other things, it's just like I need not even, it doesn't have to be like super optimistic, but I need something more stimulating or like neutral or whatever, rather than just like complaining. Like it feels like almost like complaining,
Yeah.
and venting, and like there's a place for that, but there's only so much like of that I can take. And a lot of what I noticed with that type of comparing, it's like introducing negatives into conversation. I'm like, I've had enough of this for the day. Like, and I've become, I don't know.
Well, hopefully you succeed in your mission to think more positive, where I have failed,
I feel
because I'm all negative.
happens. It's got a place. I'm not saying it should be gone. I'm wondering if is it always necessary.
Eradicated.
That's my topic.
All right. I don't know which one we're going to go
My
with.
topic's better than your topic.
Well, then let's
You
compare
go for
it.
your topic.
Let's compare it then. No, my topic has to do with so recently Netflix kind of updated and then announced how they show their viewing metric.
Yeah.
Before, you had to have viewed 70% of a movie or of a show, and that would count as a view for that specific number, for that specific show. It'll count as one viewed.
Okay.
Now they've updated it to where it's just a 2-minute view time for a show, for an
Counts as a
original,
view.
and it counts as a view. Now, their point of, or their logic is, we go through things so fast. Like when we're looking through Netflix, you'll go like next. Like you move so quickly through your options of movies that if you watch something for 2 minutes or longer, it has now become an active decision that you were about to watch this movie. So they count it as a view, even if you don't watch it for like 10 minutes or more. You know, like it's just, if you watch it for 2 minutes, the fact that we move everything so fast now in our daily lives, it counts it as a view metric, because we make decisions so quickly. So 2 minute span is like, that's long enough for it to be an active decision that you were planning on watching this show or movie or original. So how do you guys feel? Like, do you think this damages the way we think of things, the way this metric works with like wanting new shows? Because it's gonna obviously skew numbers for certain shows in which like it's enticing in the beginning, but then you realize like, oh, this isn't what I wanted, and you cancel it.
I would just show a pair of titties for the first 2 minutes.
See, like
It's gonna
Altered
change.
Carbon season 2 is
Now
about to
people are
come out.
Netflix shows are gonna like change their like
And that's
first 2 minutes.
That's the thing too, specifically with Netflix, that like people can get in Netflix to make movies. Like it doesn't have to be a big time like studio.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like anyone can do it, but Netflix will pick people up to direct a movie, and with this in mind, they can do something that like will entice people for the first couple minutes.
Well, okay. Were they not doing that before?
More than likely not, because the idea was you'd have to watch 70% of a film.
Right. Not for not for the counting, but I mean like, if your goal is to get someone to watch your stuff, you either have a trailer or you make like how you've said in the past, it has to grab you.
Yeah.
I think that's the concept here.
So
and I'm wondering, and I'm sure it'll emphasize that, because now that it's been made public,
I agree with you.
you're gonna
With
see
a
some of that,
trailer,
but-
someone can make it really nice, and then the whole movie just sucks. But the thing is,
Well, no,
again,
not even. I'm just saying it's either a trailer or the beginning of your thing just grabs you, whatever
Yeah.
it is. And I feel like, regardless of your thing, if you start a story, you want something to grab you. You've stated that before this, so I don't know how much it'll change.
But with the metric of 70% viewed,
yeah,
you would do what you're saying. Like you would entice people or grab people in the beginning, but you would have to continue that for the rest of the movie. Like they have to enjoy the movie. With this metric, with the 2 minute, they can do the same thing where they entice people in the beginning, but then you can make the rest of the movie shitty.
Oh, you're saying
Because
that
only
it'll
2
drop
minutes
off
counts.
sooner.
Exactly. Because only 2 minutes count. So like overall, the quality I think would go down, and only those 2 minutes would stay the same or go higher, because that's what matters the most for a
Maybe.
viewing metric.
I think the
But-
quality will be the same, but the first 2 minutes, it's gonna make a new formula of how to make shows. On
Possibly. I feel like what you're arguing is like bare minimum.
Yeah.
And I understand that there's a place that people will aim for that.
People
but
take advantage.
No, people do. But I think the ones that, like, the real success of anything you see now, because you see Netflix also canceling things very quickly.
Cancel culture.
Yeah, cancel. It's Netflix. And with that in mind, they needed it's the incentive of the shows to have something that's like a franchise, the
Yeah.
brand. So like you want something that's like they're not just in it for the first 2 minutes. They're hooked for like they want to binge all of this.
Right.
So it's got to be captivating. And if you want to make that the real goals,
Mhm.
like if you want to succeed, if you want to like show that you've met, like how many times are you going to fall for the same thing? Like if it's episodic, for instance, if it's
Right.
not a movie, if it's episodic, no one's going to follow you after the first episode you do the 2-minute drop off. You got to make everything like always enticing. So I don't think it's in the benefit of the creators to follow the thing of like, I'll make the first 2 minutes good and suck the rest or let
Right.
it drop. So that wouldn't help anyone, let alone them. First and foremost themselves.
Yeah, but
So-
again, like people take advantage of things. Like I feel like people would want like not essentially a one-hit wonder where their whole movie is great, but they would want that one metric to make everything seem great when really
With a movie, yeah, I could see it being abused. But with a show, if you got 10 episodes, people aren't going to follow it 10 times, 2 minutes.
yeah.
That's what I mean. And a lot of what Netflix is shows.
The thing
Is
is
a big
too,
part of it, I'm
is-
saying.
So one thing I want to know is too, like when you start Netflix, they now have like a trailer of like one of the movies that they're.
Yeah.
What if like you just leave it there while you go do something? Does that 2 minutes like count as?
I don't know.
viewing
I mean,
metric?
the trailer is different than the show. So I don't think
But
they
sometimes
count
some
trailers.
shows start like it starts the show even though you haven't hit anything. When you go over like that movie, it just starts playing the
Yeah.
actual movie.
I don't know if that counts or not. We'll see.
YouTube does it. YouTube, if I were to make my video into an ad,
But, yeah.
someone viewing the ad counts as a view from an actual
Interesting.
video.
I don't know.
So
It's just going to skew the numbers. I don't
That's-
like
yeah.
it. It just.
Well, the thing is, if they're the only ones, if this is a metric they've set for themselves, and they're the only ones that
but
follow
they're gonna basically bring out reports like, oh, we have 1 million views of this,
Exactly.
and it's
Like,
not
it'll
a
entice
true.
people to come to
it's
them.
not a true million views.
they're gonna hoard like talent essentially because they're like, look at these guys that don't have very much talent and look at their numbers. If you with your talent come over to us, you will get double, triple.
They're skewing their
quadruple the amount.
numbers, and they're going to report their numbers skewed.
it'll give. I think it'll get headlines, and that'll sway people to think certain ways. But I think, like when you see a box office, no one is like, none of the films are in control of that box office.
Yeah.
Box office is like a neutral, like this is what it made. Fucking take it or leave it. And those are the metrics that like stand the test of time.
And that's what I want.
But this isn't that. So people will care at the moment. I don't think people will care 5 years from now, where they're like, "What was the show with the most views?" That won't count.
I don't know.
Like, if Disney's going by one metric, HBO's going. It's going to go by. The historians will keep it by whatever is the.
It kind of matters because that view count is money for Netflix. Like they can just if they report a true not a number that's not true
To their
views,
stockholders.
it's
the
really
way I
bad.
But if
see
they're
it
the only
is-
ones holding to it, how is anyone else?
no,
saying,
but if
like,
that's their standard, they're gonna report. They're gonna
they're a
report
success.
that. Yeah,
But the thing
that's
is, too, is-
dangerous. So it's gonna say like, okay, so let's say a movie sucks, like then it has 1 million views, but not everyone watched the whole movie. They're gonna report that number like, hey, look, this movie has 30 million
So
views. Like,
what I'm worried
But if
about
their
is
stock drops, then it doesn't matter how many views they think they said. Like the stock drops or up. I
Right,
don't know.
right,
I don't know
but-
what influences that, but like if the quality is so bad that everything starts tanking.
So if they report good numbers, generally their stock stays the same or would go higher because they're doing well. And with this view metric, they can essentially skew numbers where they say like, hey, this did better than technically what it was because our metric changed. So now this movie, instead of it counting as 30% of our user base saw this movie, because only the 2 minutes count, 75% of our viewer base saw this movie. This is insane. Like, we're doing so well now.
I agree. I think it'll count, but I think it'll only go so far because a lot of salespeople spin things. All this stuff gets
I
spun.
agree with you.
And I think that when you can only spin things so much before there, and I'm saying this is as a critical. I'm not saying this
Okay.
is like a regular thing. I think when you get to the critical points, like let's say they're on like thin ice, their view like they're down to 1,000 subscribers on Netflix. This is like 100 years from now, some far-fetched future. They only got 100 subscribers. They're like, guys, we're still doing good. 100% of our user base is watching
Saw this fucking movie.
90% of our content 100 times. I don't like you could. There's a spin.
you're saying it like they're gonna make bad product. They're gonna uphold their quality shows and movies. It just their numbers are not accurate.
I don't know. I think
it's
of
not
corruption.
fucking accurate. It's not accurate.
And
as
if
hell.
you do something,
they're not gonna lower their quality. They're always gonna make constantly good TV shows, good movies.
No, and I agree
now
with that.
these numbers are pumped. Like they're gonna be like, oh, Bird Box 2. Look at, we got this many
Well, I mean,
views. Like,
the thing is, at least for me, they've said like stuff like the Adam Sandler movies on Netflix have been record-breaking
Phenomenal, yeah.
views. I'm like, I don't give a shit. That sucked.
I haven't even
like,
seen it. Yeah.
Well, like I've just seen the trailers. I'm like, that looks like dog shit.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you say your views are, like that hadn't played a factor. And I'm
but
like,
it plays factors to other people. Like if
So, like-
someone says like, I mean, it may not have affected you, but if someone says, oh, like someone's Bird Box was a phenomenon that everyone watched. What if those numbers were skewed? It would bring more people. To look. I mean, I watched Bird Box because
You
a lot of
heard-
people were talking about it.
because you heard
It was getting memed. I was like, oh,
okay,
might as
because
well
people were
watch it.
talking about it, not because someone said like this has over 30,000.
But the
No,
numbers,
but a lot
the
of people,
stats.
but the memes was what brought people in. So people wouldn't have talked about it if not a lot of people watched it.
Stats can skew it. If you hear,
I don't think hearing something is watched over 100 million times inclines you
I
to watch
think it does. I think because you want to be part of the conversation. Like, oh, so and so watched this.
No.
Oh, I want to watch this film
If
too.
you hear people saying like I watched this, or like here's a meme of this, and that's what's getting it. This like if one headline says this is how many views it got,
it starts somewhere. So like if
I
it's-
disagree, but
I
get it.
no, I think it fucking
it starts somewhere. So
matters.
like if
Numbers
they report,
matters.
hey, this movie has gotten record-breaking numbers, people are gonna start talking about it. It's gonna start getting memed. Like it's obviously like
Okay.
it's kind of like a snowball effect.
Sure.
It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Eventually, like then really everyone did watch it.
I
Eventually,
mean, that's kind of the reason why I watched Parasite. It was breaking box office records with 21 screens. I
box
was like-
office is different. Box office is neutral.
yeah.
That's why I'm saying this is
but a lot
Netflix-
of people were watching it. That
Okay.
stat.
But it
I was like,
wasn't being talked about. It was more like
It was being
breaking
talked
records.
about.
Okay.
I'm just saying when I see something that Netflix is reporting on themselves, I have salt with that. Like I'm like, I don't 100% believe in you. If I see like something that is more like robust that I feel like a confidence in, like I'm not putting 100% weight on it, but Rotten Tomato, it's a collective of a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff, and there's ways to
But
skew
the
that.
thing is, these numbers will affect Nielsen ratings,
Okay.
and I don't know that.
In
It
some way or form, it'll affect it. And there are people that obviously weigh that more than what you would, or it just
Okay.
it kind of has that somewhat effect.
That's
I
fair.
also think of,
Yeah.
of corruption, like with Enron. Enron was like reporting like, hey, we're making insane profits. In reality, they were losing a shit ton of money.
Sure.
And so like that's something that Netflix can do. Like there's gonna be no, as of right now, like there's gonna we don't have anything to set up to like keep them in check, you know? And if they're constantly changing,
There's nothing.
I mean, I don't know. Like that's why like there's all these things that are happening right now. Like they don't want to include Netflix as part of like the Oscars because there's
Wait, yeah, they are.
they're including it now. But wasn't there a huge debate before?
Oh yeah, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
1 year ago?
But I think it's because there's like checks like this. Like they can report like with movies, they can be like, hey, we want this to be nominated because look how many views it has because it's skewed numbers now. Like so it in some ways at some point in life it'll affect things if things start working differently. Like
Sure.
if not the Oscars, but
you
if
can
the box
spin anything
office-
anyway to like grab
Yeah.
attention. I
But
guess they-
eventually, like the way I see it is over time. Like in 5 years from now, if they keep this metric and everything works out for them, eventually they'll be like, hey, you know what? 30 seconds counts, and we'll be like, we've already done 2 minutes. That's cool. You know, eventually things change. We become more comfortable with different decisions, and it gets insane. So I
mean,
just
what
don't
if
agree with
other
it now.
companies start doing this? Like HBO's like, hey,
It influences.
we're gonna do this too.
It gets worse and worse.
like, hey, they're doing it. We might as
so
well
I'm thinking
do
of
it.
a long run. Like right
I'm
now,
thinking
it
of
might
a
not be
long
I
run,
mean,
too, and I don't think-
if I was a company
think
like
it is.
HBO, I'd be like, wait, our competition's doing this? Their numbers are pumped. Hey, we might as well do it too.
I'm just worried. I mean, obviously,
Well,
we
that's
don't
what
know
I'm saying
the
is that everyone's going to do their own thing, and nothing will matter. If everyone's doing, if I'm
Yeah.
grading myself on one metric and you're grading yourself on another metric, then what is that person going
You're
to know the
thinking more
difference?
globally. I'm thinking of just this specific, like just Netflix, which is funny.
No, but you guys are just saying like if a company A does it, company B does it, company C does it, everyone's doing their own thing. Then
Yeah.
like what metric matters at that point? It saturates it.
But I guess
It's like
I see this moment as like the starting point of all
of the
this,
saturation.
of
For
this
me,
saturation. Yeah.
yeah, I'm saying the same thing. As I'm just saying it's going to go to a different point, and I'm sure it'll have influence and
Yeah.
impacts in positive and negative ways.
I don't want it.
I don't think it'll like. I'm like I don't give a fuck. Like do your thing. But I disagree. Like going back to the initial thing of like quality of the product.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll impact that, because if they want any of these things to succeed, they have to, on that high level, like the Bird Box level, any of these, the Witcher level, anything else, they gotta like, they have to like not only hit it, but blow past.
I haven't seen Bird Box.
Neither have I.
Was Bird Box a good movie to you?
It was all right.
Okay.
It had those numbers. It had like the record-breaking thing stuff.
But the numbers don't matter because you're skewed.
No, it didn't impact me, but I get the meme thing. Like everyone wants to be part of the conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, they didn't just. I think it wasn't just like 2 minutes and drop off into shit. Like I think it just kept going into whatever it was trying to do, regardless of those 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So, for the creator, I don't know. I don't think it impacts the creator. It might impact the investors. It might impact the companies figuring all this shit out. I don't think the creator is impacted. Okay. Because they gotta not just make something that's good. They gotta make something that's great, because our culture is such a fast-paced culture.
Yeah.
I think people forget about things, and you gotta make something that lasts.
So if you say like if they skew the numbers to say something's good, but the actual to say people have been watching this movie, but if people actually watch it, it's not a good movie. It's not going to go anywhere for that movie, essentially, right? Like,
for the longevity of them, sure. I don't think so. Maybe that's not their goal. Maybe they're like, I just want a done in one, get this thing to like hit a bajillion whatever metric we got, and then now I've got the backing. I need to go do something else, and like that. I mean, it could serve purposes in those ways, and I'm sure that'll be good for people.
I think this metric would have helped Watchmen. The viewership isn't that high. If you were to ask a normal person if they watched it, it got 1 million views per episode.
I think it's also Watchmen's super niche. Like you have to know the universe for you to like enjoy and understand the show.
I mean, this is again my not understanding how any of this stuff is, but I've always heard like some things can be fantastic and not have had great, but it's like it builds the brand.
Yeah.
So then when they like go back and say like HBO, they like this has like gotten so many awards, acclaimed this thing, and you're like, oh, I'll go back. Like I think it's like building that portfolio.
I think that once like like a show or movie, their hot take is when it comes out, and maybe like a year afterwards, and then it's like it's done. Like
no. But what I'm saying is like HBO tries to pitch for other shows, and they're like, look at what we've made. We're not looking at the views, we're looking at the quality of the work, and we're saying that this was. When you look at the nominations or the writing or whatever was said about the quality, and they try to spin it. I'm saying.
I don't know. I mean,
they're trying to spin it in a different way.
I mean, they try to do that for The Wire, but no one watches The Wire.
It's talked about to this day.
But no one
regardless
really
of the viewers.
No one really watches The Wire. If I were to ask a random person.
But if you look at every list, it's always like best shows of all time. The Wire.
It doesn't work. It doesn't
work. It's there. It's in our culture that it's been like these are the best.
These claims don't work. Like I mean, people don't watch the show. People don't watch The Wire.
But it's what I'm saying is in terms of the attention, in terms of people knowing about it, it is there. So it might have not succeeded in one way, but it succeeded in like being relevant.
It doesn't. I think it's the show's hot run is within like the first 2 years, and people don't go back.
I think what we're differing on is what one of us thinks matters and what, because there are different things that matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like views matter, but like content, being quality. There could be a movie that sucked 100 years ago and it never made profit, but people talk about it to this day. And is that a success? Like, what is success? Is what I think is the differing perspectives of.
So, I agree with you with where like the quality of a movie does matter, but I'm worried that Netflix will corner the market. Not that they're gonna make bad movies using this metric, but with this metric they can lie to people and bring good people to their market, and then it corners the market to where Netflix has like a lot of good movies, and now we don't start seeing things in box offices because people want to go to Netflix because those numbers are insane. Pump those numbers up. That's what I'm worried. I'm worried that they're cornering like talent market, and I'm not worried about them doing bad content, but with these numbers, because obviously ultimately like when they make a movie, they want to have a platform where everyone will see it, and with Netflix saying like, hey, 100% of our when especially now with their numbers being like how many subscribers, like some 67 million people or whatever, if you're saying like 100% of people are watching our movies, with this skewed thing, so we're gonna have some guy go like, let me go over to Netflix and make a movie here. So I'm just worried about them cornering talent market and not worried about them like making shitty movies and lying about it. Because I don't think again, like I agree with you. If they don't make a good movie, it doesn't matter whether they're saying it's getting 100 million views. If someone watches like this is a shit movie, they're just gonna say it's a shit movie. No one's gonna want to watch it. But I'm worried about them cornering like different markets, and then it skews the way that we now rate movies or the way people consider what a movie is, and it's just gonna get crazy. And we'll see this change. Probably.
Evolving, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
yeah. But I guess that was my main point. And after listening to you guys, I was able to like, kind of put my thoughts together and say it.
Cool.
Yep. That's my topic, though.
Jay.
TikTok. All right, so there's a thing called a Doomsday clock. If you guys never heard of.
What is it? Explain it to me, please.
It's pretty much just like a man-made clock. It was originally 10 minutes to midnight, and it goes closer or farther away depending on. It was made for nuclear stuff.
Okay.
So like nuclear war and stuff. It's at the closest it's ever been.
So when it strikes midnight, essentially, it is considered
Game
like
over.
end of the world.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
So it's at 100 seconds, which is a minute and 40 seconds before midnight. This is the closest it's gone.
How does that work? Like, does that mean like any moment or like?
So North Korea gets nukes. Tick. Iran gets nukes. Oh, there's a peace treaty for nukes. Oh, we take it back.
Does it consider
so
like
it
what
does go back.
seconds?
It goes back. It goes back.
Does it consider what a second is though? Like,
It kind
or a
of does.
minute?
It does kind of
Sorry.
do that.
Like
So when this happened, I thought it was because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
But it's because
I'm assuming presidents.
likelihood of nuclear war
Yeah.
with Russia or Iran, and climate change because of everything that's happening in Australia. So that's why it's closer. So my topic is, how will the world end? What's the most likely?
So you're real quick because you mentioned like nuclear war with Russia. I think that's less likely, not like unlikely, but because I think more likely they'll what they're doing now is they're infiltrating us through different means.
Oh, so cyber terrorism was the last time it got closer.
shit.
That was before.
Okay.
That was before. AI and cyber terrorism.
Ooh.
It
AI
went
would be
closer.
like fucking 10 hours
It
ahead.
went closer.
Like
So
opposite.
you said it goes backward. When was the last time it went backward? Do you know?
It tells you every time it moves. There's key moments in history.
Okay.
30 years ago.
Fluctuations and threats.
But it's never gotten back.
2019, because like Pakistan and like
We became friends?
Iran had nukes, or we pulled out of a nuclear Iran exchange deal.
And it
I don't know if you
went
remember.
backwards?
And it went ahead?
No, it went forwards.
Okay.
Dude, it's only gone forward. 2018, Kim Jong Un, North Korea.
Dang, dude. I'm telling you, it's been a while. It's probably like a couple of years. I'd say like 10 years maybe before when he'll
I'm
see
just
like,
curious, like what?
Damn. So from 1991, it was 17 minutes away. So a lot of shit has happened to move us closer.
Dang. So in
It
21
started at what point?
or
10,
19 years.
10 minutes to midnight.
So in 19 years, it's moved essentially 16 minutes or so. Which obviously that's insane when you think of like it hitting midnight or 12 is the end of the world. Like that's crazy.
What's crazy is I saw this on Reddit. Have you ever seen the movie? I haven't seen the movie. It's called The Widowmaker, K-19 Widowmaker.
Sean
We
Connery and
almost
Harrison
fucking we almost destroyed the world. There's a Russian dude that I don't know what he did. He pretty much sacrificed himself, and we almost went to war with Russia. Like,
Fuck, crazy.
Isn't it like they were gonna set off nukes, and this guy like they had to do 2 keys, and this guy was like,
yeah,
I
something
don't think
like
this
that.
is right
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
were getting calls to do it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's like, I have to hear it from one person, and he never heard it, so he's like, no, we're not doing it.
Yeah, and this
But-
guy's never talked about
And the
in
other guy
history.
is like, I'm fucking putting in the key and shit.
This guy's
And-
never talked about in history. He saved the world.
yeah,
and-
which is insane. I
So,
mean,
I'm
obviously,
still
his
like
decision-
fathoming this whole doomsday clock idea, let alone like thinking of what would, I don't know, like what would cause it?
Well, Stephen
what,
King.
what would be the?
Stephen King wrote a book called The Stand, and it's pretty much flus and viruses get so strong that it kills 98% of the world. Coronavirus.
What? So I recently just heard about the coronavirus, and I haven't heard it before this. Like, I don't know what this is.
It's some new strain,
It's a strain of like SARS.
and
saw,
it was been in China,
Okay.
and then there was like a case in Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
oh fuck.
17 people have died. So it.
and they've shut off I think all airports in China now. Like they've
So
like,
I
closed off.
saw a thing about like China having so many sick people, like hospitals can't even hold them. And I hadn't, so I saw that, but I didn't know it was about coronavirus. And then I saw a meme where it's like people having a coronavirus patient, and they're just like running them on those patient beds or whatever. They're just running across the street. And I think obviously it's just like it's like an old like joke clip of just doctors running someone, but they're saying like patient with coronavirus running down the street or whatever. Sure. And I was like, what the hell is
I mean,
this?
what's crazy is this disease. They think it came from an animal. It transmits from animal to human,
Don't
human
they
to
say
animal.
AIDS came from animals? I mean, well, not that they say. I believe it did, but
The monkey.
a lot of viruses essentially come from animals.
Yeah. So you think it's more like the
No,
stand?
I think climate change will be the end of us.
Climate change?
Climate change.
I don't think so. I think we would, if anything, the end of the world would be caused by nuclear destruction. And I feel like,
With
if
who?
anything, I would say the clock should be even closer, dude. Because at any moment, specifically with who we have as a president, something can just happen.
It's just the longer the next election he gets reelected.
Dude, he's straight up just lied. Like, he's been like, I talked to him. He's a really good person. And the guy's like, I've never even spoken to this guy. Like, and all it takes is for him to say something bad, being like, he.
But who would we attack? I mean, how would this happen?
Well, right now we're at possible fighting with Iran, that's the closest one for me. I don't think Russia's there because
I feel like the Iran situation's over. Like, it's
Yeah?
just it's a proxy war, and it's just
I
no
hope.
one.
I mean, yeah.
obviously I don't know what's happening in the background, but with Russia, I feel like they have a better chance of infiltrating us than for us to get in a nuclear battle with them. And I think, at least for now, Iran is the more likelihood of having nuclear war. Because anything, like, it's still there. It's still a hot topic. So it could still just, like, rise up again, essentially.
How will the world end?
I'm not leaning towards like
Nuclear?
a missile or
Mhm.
like an attack. I'm more thinking in the line of either a climate related thing, but the climate could have been like induced by some
Something
accidents
we did.
or something, and it's like it causes like a crazy heat wave or fire or something that just takes out a. I mean, fuck it. Like, I'm still not fully processing the idea that all of Australia, like,
Burn.
is
On
over
fire.
500 million
Million
animals
animals.
have died.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, I'm like, what if all
half
that
a billion, half a billion.
Imagine if that was like people. I'm like, holy fuck. Like,
What's insane is they might never recover, because
They've-
that is so many animals that we might already just have witnessed the extinction of a species.
Yep.
It is possible that
Yep.
we've already just seen an extinction of a species. Like, that's
So-
insane numbers, dude.
like something like that I see being a big thing. The other thing that I could think of that would be close would be something like cyber related, like
Cyberdyne.
no, that's not cyber dying, but more like everyone's accounts just go to shit, and like
Oh.
something gets sent to the wrong thing, and then and it's just like a chain of events that just fundamentally breaks us,
Y2K.
and like it becomes like Mad Max, like everyone just loses their shit and
Hackers
riots.
just, like, remove the debt from everybody.
Hey, Mr. Robot. No, but like I think something on that like that just affects everyone, and then because we're so tied to that we're not getting our news. Everyone's kind of, it's sort of Death Stranding-esque where it's like you're not connected, and I think like that would be how it happens. Is like those one combination of those things, or I don't know.
I think, yeah, I agree with you, where, like, if like online was cut off, dude, like, people that have savings, people that have money that is not on their person would no longer have access to money. People that have, like, obviously you can't call anyone else. Like, if, like, this type of thing went down,
People don't have maps anymore?
It causes chaos. Yeah.
Except
I
for
wouldn't.
you. You got
How
a
the
map.
fuck would I drive? Dude, honestly, like I remember when I was young, my dad, we would drive to like Arizona or we would drive to like Las Vegas, and he would be like, "Hold on, boom,
Thomas
bust out
map.
a paper map, dude." And now, even my parents who did this are like, we use phones now. You know, he like
When-
sticks a phone to his car and boom, GPS.
In The Irishman, when he's drawing the line on the map, I was like, holy fuck, I remember. That was such a long time ago. Fuck, yeah.
But now I wouldn't be able to like really use one. I'd have to relearn it all over again.
Yeah.
I remember trying to learn it with my dad because I was like, oh, this is so interesting. But like at some point in my life, I was like, phones, cool. Oh, GPS, and completely forgot about
And then the
maps.
third most likely is, I think, something virusy. Like, just because they keep getting strong. Like, it just keeps changing. And I don't know. We keep putting money into other things. Like trillions into, like, arms and all that shit. So,
With viruses, eventually, like we'll be our own demise with anti-vaxxers and stuff.
I was reading on Reddit. The number one post, water rights. Like, water rights are being bought up, and it's affecting crops. And like, he said that's the number one thing, and it got a lot of medals. And he was explaining it. I was like, holy fuck.
I think when you bring something up that isn't thought of a lot, and you make it a point, like this is a possibility. Like it's true. I mean, we have what's the Flint? Like they don't
dude.
have clean. They've
Water,
haven't had
yeah.
clean water for years, bro. It's insane. And then we've had droughts to the point where like in California we have to use water specific times, and who fucking follows those rules? No one.
Yeah.
No one
Imagine-
follows it until it's too fucking late, dude.
Imagine like oil went away. It's chaos. No gas.
It's cool. I'll drive my bike.
The Walking Dead. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
No, but like we
I definitely think the water thing is a thing. Like, just, I don't know. When I was a kid, water from a hose, just like,
yeah.
now
But
it's like,
the thing
and people are just
it's-
always buying bottles.
it's not that though. Like, I think what we don't realize is the energy it takes for us to clean water.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of energy it takes. So if we were at some point like no water was clean and we were forced to have to make clean water to have drinking water, that's where it gets insane. Like the hose and stuff, like that's going through a system for
Yeah,
it to
yeah,
be
yeah.
clean. But eventually that hose water won't be clean for you.
Another possibility: super volcanoes. One can blow up, and Earth
Destroy
is bye
half the
bye.
world, yeah.
Bye bye. Earth is bye bye.
We're still waiting for that earthquake.
Yosemite, Yellowstone, and Yosemite has a super volcano.
Yeah. We would be like we're so close to that we would get caught in the blast. Well, not like the blast in which, but like ash would cover us. Like we'd be
Fires,
on that part,
yeah.
yeah. Like we'd be part of that. That it would affect us a lot.
Fuck.
It's So it's like anything
Let's
can
go to
happen,
Mars.
but. So I think it's going to be
Who's there?
nuclear. I think it'll be nuclear war.
Ozymandias.
Shit.
You think it's nuclear?
I don't think it'll be nuclear. And you're both saying pretty much like. Well, you're saying like
I
virus.
think the
climate.
weather stuff, but
Yeah,
I
climate.
meant like in order of where I was thinking. Like my first thought is the weather
Okay.
and everything involved with that, natural disasters. Second was something cyber, like foundationally that we just drops. Third was like.
I mean, what if bees died? It would just kill crops easily. Food supply would just go away.
Do you remember Interstellar? I think of that sometimes.
What's crazy is like I've played a game called Plague. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Is it a new game?
It's
Plague's
not
Tale?
a new. It's what was it?
A Plague's Tale?
No.
Oh.
It's called literally just like it used to be a phone game. It's now on
Oh.
PC. It's literally like you start a strain of virus, and the whole point of
Oh,
the
yeah,
game
yeah,
is
yeah.
for you to spread it
Yeah.
to 100% of the population of the world.
Yeah.
So like what's funny is you can choose anywhere you want to start the virus on, and if you start like in the United States, it spreads to the United States super quick. But then,
Contain.
like airport wise, like to other countries, it kind of that's where it gets hard to beat. If you start in a small location, if you start like in what was it, Greenland or something like that, dude, your shit like spreads and then dies out, and you're like, what the fuck, dude? And like over time, you're able to like do upgrades. Like you know now you can like you're airborne, and boom, like it spreads even quicker. Now you're like you require like a certain amount of like immunity, and boom, like it spreads even more. It gets insane. But like I think of that like depending on where it starts, it gets a head start. It spreads out like crazy, and from there, it can just go anywhere, and it's insane. So like the locations, China is huge. That's one of the ones like in the game at least you
What's
would want to start there.
crazy is they're about to hit Chinese New Year this and no one can travel. Fuck.
They can't leave.
I had family that was about to go travel there for Chinese New Year, and they stopped their trip short. They're like another part of Asia as a result. I was like, fuck.
Yeah,
That's insane.
it's a scary thought, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say nuke first. I would say a virus or like some type of like.
But you'd change your mind about the nuke if someone else won.
If I
2020.
would say that would like drop down to like third.
Okay, here's a question to follow up yours. What do you think would set the clock back right now?
If Iran and U.S. got into peace talks again.
Do you think a change in election would set it back?
Yeah, I think so. I think it went forward when he went.
That's right.
Yeah, it did. I think change of presidency would knock it down a bit, or will knock it back a bit.
I think, this is
I don't
super
know.
unrealistic, but if literally the entire world, somehow collectively went to aid Australia, I don't know if it would set it back, but
I know the perfect solution.
squid?
Yes. Squid attack.
Oh my!
Sending you to Mars?
Psychic blast.
Do you think we'll ever see the headline, cancer has been cured?
I think we
Maybe.
will. I
think that could set...
if as long as we don't see that in the world, we'll see that headline. Because obviously, if it's in the world, we're not gonna.
No,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah. But I mean, they're like, we can now cure...
I've seen reports that we've accidentally found was it like blood cells or some type of cells that actually attack cancer cells. Not like every version of cancer cells, the most basic versions of cancer cells they attacks and it wins successfully over it. I believe it was saying. So that's for me that's one step closer because now we have a starting point for kind of like an immune system for cancer because we've never had that before. Nothing fights it.
Okay.
It takes over other cells over and over.
So here's another question. You said what is the doomsday clock? It means end of the world or end of humans?
Oh.
Because I have
Probably humans, maybe.
Okay,
I
so
would
then
assume it's humans. I don't know.
Cause the reason I asked that because it's very specific to what I'm thinking of. If we were to discover another planet as habitable, would that change?
Consider.
Ooh.
Because if the clock is based on the world's thing, then I don't think that it would impact it. But if
So what if it hits midnight and then we all blast off? Like, that's still what it means.
I don't know.
I would think it's only related to humans, but I also think that it's not essentially like a full extinction, but it's like wiping out a large mass of the population kind of thing. It's like
But I wonder
it's
if,
like a
this-
large event that changes everything we've ever our way of thinking.
If it somehow became possible to inhabit another planet within reasonable measures or relative not difficulty, it's not like it's 1,000 bajillion light years away. Like you're not going to see it. Like that's not going to do anything. But if it's like, oh, it's right here, would that set the clock back? You think?
I think it would like go forward, past, and then like reset that way. You know, like
We got in daylight saving times, boys.
no.
This is a morbid question. Let's say something catastrophic happens. Do you want to be a survivor in the new world, or would you want to go? Like
It depends on what it is.
Oh.
If everyone's a cannibal,
No, a super virus. 90% of the world. will
Clickers?
cause- No. Like cold. The cold kills people. Like, and there's only 2% of the world left.
and I don't want to die.
Yeah,
Well,
I would
like-
choose to survive to see things through and see what happens.
What about why the last minute? I'm a man.
Shit.
Bad things. Bad things.
I don't know. It's crazy to think that we're so close to that doomsday 12 o'clock.
I've heard. I don't know if this has been a conversation people have had in the past, but I've heard legitimately, like on several occasions, not like in a judging way, just like I've heard people saying like, I'm okay, if you don't have just to other people, not me, but like I'm okay if you don't have kids. The world is
Ending.
is crazy. Like it's like I've never heard the conversation of like having a child and like like the current whatever, regardless of whether you're thinking of war or craziness of the world or whatever, it's like how often I've heard it, not like super often, but like often enough where it's not just like one or two people. It's, I don't know, it seems different to me. Like versus past years where it's just like it's not a factor.
Yeah.
You know?
It
makes me think of like Children of Men a little bit, where it's like people couldn't. In that one, it was more of a couldn't thing, but just like how it impacted, like the stopping of that impacted everything.
Yeah,
was crazy to me. Like that was like whoa. It's just there's no like rebirth. There's no, and then that's a factor of it. It's like one of the many things that impacts everything.
I would say Children of Men is a good example of like it possibly hitting Doomsday. Because that's a catastrophic event. We no longer have birth rate, or we no longer have birth. We cannot reproduce.
Yeah.
And then the moment that we see a kid born, it's like 1 second like back.
I mean, this is a morbid thought.
So it's like,
but like in the vein of that,
yeah,
a nuke goes off, but it's like somewhere with minimal damage, but it impacts the entire country. Everyone's sterile. Like, no one can reproduce.
That would push it to like it not being 12, but it's like 11:59:59. You know, like fucking. It's
but
there.
it would lead to like the Children of Men thing, where it's like if a large population that big couldn't reproduce, like
shit,
all kinds of crazy shit would happen.
Yeah,
I mean, this is this is morbid but true. But like people in the U.S. are not having that many kids, and it's not going to support because you need a working class to support what we have, like Social Security. So that's going to go away pretty fucking soon. You might not have Social Security. That's a big... people are having less kids. I'm not saying they're not having kids. They're having less kids. And it's not enough to support us that are not dying and...
Yeah, like we had the people before us were baby boomers. They had
the old DLC, dude. Like...
The people before us were baby boomers. They had a large concentration of having kids, and they were smart. They're like, they're going to support us in the future. And now we're over here like thinking of ourselves and not like our actual like us
longevity.
Just making kids. Yeah, well, not like longevity, but like we're thinking of ourselves now and not being like, let's have shit ton of kids now, you know, for later or whatever. So it's like it's just negative thoughts. We're trying to obviously like I feel like our generation or like the millennial and the what is it? What's the newer one generation now?
Gen Z.
Is that the newest one?
Yeah.
Zoomers. Okay.
That's what I call them.
We're thinking about like the time now and the planet now and how society is now. So we're just trying to better it now and not fuck it up in the future.
I mean, this is kind of morbid but true, but morbid but true stories. Like China, like you know how they had the one-child policy, and you know, like it's fucking them up, like because now they don't like have a good ratio, and no one's having kids.
It was insane. Like they did it obviously because they were having an insane amount of fucking kids, but then like when you do certain policies, like it gets insane. So like then you're not. It's not a natural thing. So like let's say a lot of kids have their first kid as a boy. Now your male to female ratio is thrown off like crazy for a large society like that. Like it's insane. And then people were like lying about things to have more kids. People would be like, you know, they would register their kids in a different country so that they can have them there, but they're not a natural Chinese citizen. They were doing crazy shit. But yeah, I feel like it threw off the balance. And you know, like now we have a certain gender more than the other.
Rey Mysterio Jr. Who are you?
I don't know, but that I feel like that shows like we don't have population in check. We don't have any way to like really. If we do something like that, it'll just ruin us in the future. You know, like if we cut down on how many kids you can have, or
we're living longer and not having kids
and fucking up the world faster. Fuck.
This is Weekly DLC. We talk about nerdy stuff, comics, books, games,
morbid stuff.
morbid stuff. Oh. Yeah,
I think that's a good stopping point.
Shit could go a lot of ways.
Tell us what
went-
you
went
better
dark.
finish. You better finish Watchmen fast then.
Shit. But there's no season 2, so
That's perfect.
Mm.
After you watch it, you'll be glad.
And as of this moment, we are now judging our views based on the first 30 seconds of
Yes.
our podcast. So.
And the first 2 seconds wasn't captured, so
Yeah.
So we have a
we lost. We lost.
have a-
we lost half our view. Where can people find you guys?
They can find me at the Fulio365 on Instagram and in the Fulio everywhere else.
At the Last Bosses everywhere.
And at DreamHack.
And
Right.
DreamHack.
When is it?
February 21st to 23.
Check it out.
You guys, one of you guys will be there. Oh, both of you guys will be there. You guys are taking turns. Friday, someone's gonna be Vargas.
Am I gonna just be like behind you, entertaining?
No,
or-
it's like a guest. You can go wherever you
Yeah.
want.
It's like your own pass.
Yeah,
You don't have to follow him.
it's a big LAN party.
Okay.
That's my perception of it.
So are there gonna be people hanging from like the ceiling, like playing
Duct
with
tape.
the
It'll be like the Matrix, like boom.
you walk in like fog, lasers shooting out everywhere.
But I mean, it's a good place. I think stuff like that's a good place to network. Or for you too, us
Yeah.
podcast. Like,
Because it's where we
Dream
have
hack.
dreams.
Dreams come
You can
true.
meet
Have you ever had a dream hack? You find me at Kujiro Prime. You can find us all at the Weekly DLC. This is episode 155. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, it was some stimulating conversation. I'm stimulated. My attention has been piqued in many ways. I hope your guys' was. And until next time, we'll
DLC.
you later.